Before we start with the baking lesson today, which is cinnamon bread, cinnamon. When my kids were little, they said cinnamon instead of cinnamon. I'm going to hold up the ingredients you'll need, and then as the video starts, I'll show you again the ingredients you need. But you can pause the video right now and write these down if you'd like. First things first. 2 cups of sugar, 2 sticks of butter, 2 eggs, 2 cups of buttermilk. A lot of 2's. If you don't have buttermilk, which I didn't in this recipe when I made it, I did not. Your other choice is 2 cups of regular milk with 2 tablespoons of vinegar or 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. When you have regular milk and you put in either vinegar or lemon juice, that acts as a substitute for buttermilk. Then after you've mixed all of those things, you are going to add 4 cups of flour and 2 teaspoons of baking soda. So everything in the batter is 2 sugar, 2 sticks of butter, 2 eggs, 2 milk, 2 teaspoons of vinegar, 2 teaspoons of baking soda. The only thing that's not 2 is the flour, and that's 4 cups. So that's the first part of the ingredients. You're also going to need a little bit of sprinkling cinnamon sugar for the middle of the bread and kind of as a yummy crunchy coat on the top of the bread. And so then you're going to need 1 cup of sugar extra, besides the 2 cups you're using in the batter. This 1 cup of sugar will go off to the side, mixed with 3 teaspoons of cinnamon. Okay, so let me back that away. And there are the ingredients. Okay? All right, last thing before this video starts, and then I'll start the whole cooking thing, but I'm recording this separate because I made a mistake at the end of the video. At the end of the video, I'm going to tell you that you should bake it on 325. That is incorrect. You should put your oven right now before you even start to bake at 350 degrees, not 325 degrees, 350 degrees. So that's all I have to tell you. That's my little correction video that I'm going to slide in at the beginning. And so in just a second, the rest of the video, the how-to part will start. Bye. Hi kids, another cooking day. Today we're making cinnamon bread and it's very yummy. And it's not very hard to make either, so I thought this would be a great thing. Here's what you need: sugar and flour. Got the flour back here because I don't need it just yet. Okay, sugar and flour. You need baking soda. You need milk, 2 cups of milk. You need cinnamon. You need 2 sticks of butter and 2 eggs. 2 sticks of butter, remember, makes 1 cup of butter. 1 stick is a half a cup, plus another stick, which is a half a cup, makes a whole cup. And when we made cookies, we melted the butter so it was very melty because that's how I like to do it, but not everybody does, so do what you want. But in this kind of bread, where I'm going to put the butter in my microwave and I'm just going to soften it. So that means maybe like 25 seconds just to get it soft. You don't want it, for this recipe, you don't want it all melty. So I'm going to start that first. Okay, and while I wait for that, we're going to start the other ingredients. Got my measuring cups, and I've got 1 tablespoon and 1 teaspoon. See how they're different? Teaspoon's quite a bit smaller than a tablespoon. All right. And we need 2 cups of sugar. So I'll open the sugar. Gotta be muscly to open my sugar thing. Okay. 2 cups. And again, you don't pack sugar down, white sugar down like you do brown sugar. Just fill it to the rim. Pour it in. 1 cup. And 2 cups, flat across the top, but not packed down. Okay? Now in another smaller bowl, I'm going to put a little more sugar, 1 more cup, because we're going to use that for part of the cinnamon bread. It makes kind of a yummy cinnamon topping, and it goes in the middle too. So 1 cup of sugar in the extra bowl, and set that aside. The big bowl though has 2 cups of sugar, and then that's all we need with the sugar. So I'm going to put the lid back on and get that out of my way. Okay. All right. Now we need to put in our butter. And see how the butter is soft now, but not melty, not liquidy, just soft. So I always use a fork. I'm not very fancy. I always use a fork to stir. I'm sure there's some kind of fancy baking equipment you can use for this, but I have always used a fork, and I probably always will use a fork, because I'm not very fancy. Okay, stir that in. And then I'm going to also add the 2 eggs. And by the time I stir the butter and the sugar and the 2 eggs, it'll be kind of a creamy mixture. Right now all I've got is really sugary butter. Okay, kind of looks like that. Really sugary butter. And when I add the eggs, it will make it much creamier. Be careful not to get any shells in there. Mr. Pape is the king of shells in our food when I let him help bake. Or sometimes I don't let him help bake. Ooh, I got a double. You probably also want a clean towel close by. I got a double on my eggs. 2 yolks came out of one of them. 2 of the yellow things. Yolk is the yellow part. Okay, get those eggs in there, stir it all up, and it'll be much creamier now than that sort of powdery, buttery sugar mix. Once you add the eggs, it turns a little more yellow and much creamier. Stir those in really well. So that by the time you're done stirring this, it looks really nice and pale yellow and creamy. Okay, the next thing we have to do is add the milk. It actually calls for 2 cups of buttermilk, and I never have buttermilk at my house. Never. So I don't want to go to the store and get some, but if you want to go to the store and get a small thing of buttermilk, be my guest. Use 2 cups of buttermilk. But I don't like to go to the store and get stuff. I like to just bake with what I have. So I have 2 cups of milk that just I normally drink. And then you have 2 choices here. To turn milk into buttermilk, you can either use lemon juice or vinegar. It says white vinegar, but white vinegar is really, see that? See-through. It's clear. It looks like water, but it's vinegar. So you can use either lemon juice or vinegar to turn your regular milk into buttermilk. Isn't that fancy? Saves you a trip to the store, and it saves you from buying stuff you might only use once. So that's why I have my tablespoon out. I think that's the only thing I need. No, I might need it for the cinnamon too. So I have my tablespoon out. I have my 2 cups of milk, and I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of vinegar. 1, 2. Okay? 2 tablespoons of vinegar, kind of mix it around in the milk. Doesn't really change the way it looks, but it does substitute for buttermilk. See, it still looks like milk, but it's now got 2 tablespoons of, I put vinegar, but honestly, the last time I made it, I used lemon juice, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice in my milk, and it turned out exactly the same. Then you got to mix that in. You got to mix careful. I got kind of a small bowl here. That wasn't very smart. So mix that in with the creamy stuff you already had, slowly so it doesn't go flying out the edges. Around and around and around. Sometimes when you put the cold milk into this other stuff, it kind of makes a gritty, some of the batter gets kind of gritty and clings to the edges. That's okay, just keep stirring it, that's normal. Okay, so I've got my batter all stirred and it's very liquidy now, okay, because of all that milk. All right, next I need to add the 4 cups of flour. 4 cups of flour is a ton, so we're going to add it 2 cups at a time because we'll be able to mix it in a little bit better. Okay. A little bit easier to mix it in when we just go a little at a time. Okay. Open my flour. I need 4 cups. Flour is not one of those things you pack down either. Flour and white sugar you don't pack down. You just get a flat cup of flour. Pour that in. And you can go with 1 more. We need a total of 4, but let's go with 2 so far. Keep track in your head of how many you're doing so you don't say, oh my gosh, how many have I put in? And then you put in not enough or too much. Okay, so 2 cups of flour. Claire's texting me. That's what that little bing means. Okay. Gotta very carefully stir this. You would be smart to get a bigger bowl than I did. This is the size bowl I got, and it's not big enough. It's gonna be very crowded by the time I get the next 2 cups of flour in there. So mix, 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 mix. Okay. Still a little watery because we don't have all the flour in it yet. But I'm almost done mixing this so that it all looks like one thing. I don't have any chunks of flour left showing. It's all mixed in and everything's blended well. There we go. Okay, that looks good. Now I'm going to add 2 more cups of flour and that's going to make it super thick. So before I make it super thick, I want to add the last thing that goes in this batter, and that is baking soda. So, gotta open it up. And I have my teaspoon this time, TSP, not the tablespoon, the bigger one. This is the smaller one, TSP. Okay, and I want 2 flat across the top teaspoons. I'm just going to sprinkle it all the way across the top of my batter. 2 of those of baking soda. Again, here's a second one. I'm going to sprinkle it all across my batter. That's the only other ingredient we need for the batter part. So I'm going to mix that in before I add the flour because this will mix in better while the mixture is still runny. And when I add those last 2 cups of flour, those last 2 cups of flour, the batter becomes very thick and it's harder to mix in the baking soda. So I mix those 2 in. First I put in the 2 cups of flour, then I put in 2 teaspoons of baking soda. And now I'll put in the last 2 cups of flour for a total of 4. Okay, so there's 1. And then here's my last one for the total of 4 cups of flour. This is so full. I'm humming. Turning into a grandma. Grandmas hum while they cook. My mom always hummed while she cooked. She was a grandma to like 60 children. She had 60 grandchildren or something like that. And she had great-grandchildren too. Oh my goodness, this is so full. I have to be careful. It's right up to the rim. But I'm getting all my flour incorporated. That means all the flour is mixed into the dough, so it just looks like dough. You don't have any powdery flour left on top or on the sides. You should make this for your mom and dad and give it to them for breakfast one morning. It's very yummy. Okay, now I've got the flour in there, but I'm going to kind of stir it up so it blends well. Now I can stir faster because I don't have any more powder on the top that'll go shooting off, making a mess. Okay, blend it really well, round and around and around. Stir, stir, stir. Let's get good arm muscles doing this. Okay, so now I've got my dough, my batter. Looks like that. Okay, and I'm going to, let me put my other things away. Helps put things away as you go so you don't end up with a big mess. Okay, now I'm going to get out 2 bread pans. These are my 2 bread pans. They look like this. And on the bottom, it says, I wonder if it says a size. 8, mine says 9 by 5 by 3. But yours don't have to be that exact same size. Okay. So we've got this whole bowl of batter. And we've got 2 of these. Before I put anything in those, I'm going to spray the bottom with this stuff. You know what? I only spray the bottom. Some people spray the whole pan because they don't want the bread to stick. It probably won't stick to the sides, but it probably will stick to the bottom. So I only spray the bottom because if you spray the sides, sometimes the bread won't rise up very much. It'll stay small instead of nice and big and thick because the sides are actually too slippery for it. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to put 3 glugs into the first pan. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this is what that looks like in the pan. About that much, okay? Then I'm going to do the same thing on this one. 3 glugs. 1, 2, 3. Okay? And just kind of smooth it out. All right, so look at those pans. That's about how much they have in them. Not very much, but that's okay. We're going to put more in a minute. Now I'm going to set my batter off to the side for just a second. And I'm going to get that 1 cup of sugar we put off in a separate bowl. So I have 1 cup of sugar. And in the 1 cup of sugar, I'm going to add, let's see, 3 teaspoons of cinnamon. So I go heaping teaspoons when it comes to cinnamon. So see how that's kind of heaping over the top? 1, because I love cinnamon. So you don't have to really smooth these out very much if you don't want. 2, 3 heaping teaspoons of cinnamon. I'm done with the teaspoon. I have a second fork that's clean, and I'm going to mix that sugar and cinnamon mix. See, it's white and brown. I'm going to mix it until it's all one color. You can't tell which is the sugar, which is the cinnamon. It's all blended together. You have to stir really good to the bottom because if you miss some, it won't have any of the sugar in it. Or there'll be sugar with no cinnamon in it. So you want to blend it really, really well. Stir, 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 stir. Okay. Now it's time for another measuring cup. This time I need a 1/4 measuring cup. It's 1/4. That means that 4 of these added together would make a whole cup, but I only need 1/4. And I'm going to take 1/4 cup of that sugar mixture, smooth to the top, maybe a little bit more. Smooth to the top, and I'm going to sprinkle that all over the top of this. How about I put my computer down so you see that? Okay, so here's the dough. I'm going to sprinkle that so the whole top of that dough I just poured in there is covered in sugar. 1/4 cup all over that. Okay, and so this is what it looks like on the top. See that? How all of that dough is covered with sugar. Okay, now do the same thing, 1/4 cup of all that cinnamon sugar mixture all over the top of the other pan of batter. So that the whole top of that batter is also just coated with cinnamon. Looks great. Smells really yummy too. I love the smell of cinnamon. Okay, so now we've got both pans covered with 1/4 cup of the cinnamon sugar mix. And we still have some cinnamon sugar mix left because that after we put the rest of the batter on, we're going to cover it one more time with sugar. So hold on. So now I've got the rest of the batter. And that's going to take 2 glugs. 1, 2, and 2 glugs on the other one. 1, 2, and there's a little bit left, so I'll put a little bit in there. There's a little bit left still, and I'll put the rest of that in the second one. So they're pretty much even. Now this is what they look like. But I have to very carefully take my spatula. This is a spatula. Or a flat icing knife or something like that. And spread it carefully. Just want to pull the batter down to the edges each way. Pull the batter down to the edges with your spatula. So that the cinnamon part is covered. You can't see it anymore because it's covered with batter. See how I'm just pulling it to the edge of the pan, and I'm going to turn it and pull it this side to the edge of the pan so that the cinnamon gets covered with batter. Okay, now you see the top. This has dough and a layer of cinnamon, or batter, I'm sorry, and a layer of cinnamon and batter, and that's what it looks like on the top yet. And then we're going to go ahead and take that 1/4 cup, maybe not quite 1/4 cup. See how that's just a little less than 1/4 cup? And sprinkle that all across the top of one of the pans of dough, just like you did before. Okay, then I'm going to put the rest of that sugar, cinnamon sugar in there. It should be about another almost 4 cups. This one looks like it has less, so the second one I guess is going to get a little less cinnamon across the top. Or you can make extra. Put it in there. Okay, so the whole tops now are covered with cinnamon again. Last step. Oh, I forgot to turn my oven on. You guys do this at the beginning before you do it. You can watch the video and pause it for each step of the way. To bake, you're going to want to put your oven on. Let me just check here on my recipe. $325 for, the last time I made these, I cooked it for 45 minutes. But it says for 45 to 50, so you'll have to check. But I'm going to put my oven on 325 really quick. Bake 325. Let's start. And then while that heats up, I will take my knife, just a regular butter knife like this. Close that, it's kind of distracting. Okay, now this is what I'm going to do next. I'm going to take my knife and put it in the batter and make a swirl, or a straight down line. 3 of those, see that? So see how there's now 3 lines across? It doesn't matter if your knife is dirty. Now take your knife and go zigzaggy the other way. Okay, so now look what you've got. The other one, you can do the same thing. Sometimes I make it different. I go like that. Make curvy lines. Fancy. Then I make curvy lines the other way. Okay? Oops, sorry. All right, so that's it for the bread dough. And then when my oven heats up, I'm going to put this in the oven and I'm going to bake it for 40 minutes. Before you take it out, have your parents help you with this. You'll want to put toothpick into the bread in the center and pull it out. And if the toothpick comes out clean, nothing's on it, there's no dough on it, then the bread is done. If at 45 minutes you put the toothpick in and you pull it out and it says a little bit of dough on it, then let it cook 5 more minutes and test it again. Probably at 50 minutes it'll be done, but mine was done. I did this about 4 days ago, and mine was done in 45 minutes. So try 45 and then see where it goes from there. I hope it turns out yummy. Here's some of what I made the other day. I'll break it apart so you can see it. Okay, the top's really pretty, but I'm not going to show you the top. I'm going to show you some of the bread. It looks like that, and you can see that it has cinnamon swirled through it. See that? And it's kind of like muffin type bread. It's really, really yummy. It'll be a good thing to eat in the morning for breakfast, or it's a good thing to eat for snack. And it's a good thing to eat cold, and it's a good thing to warm up. You decide. But I hope you like it, and I hope you had fun baking today. Be good to your families. Help your parents out. They need a lot of help right now. And make sure you're getting all your schoolwork done. See you later. Bye-bye. Because we're almost done with the bread. It's been 45 minutes. It's actually been 44, so I have 1 minute left. But I need to correct something and tell you I told you 40, or I'm sorry, for as far as the temperature for the oven goes, I told you 325 degrees, and it should be 350 degrees. So hopefully you printed the recipe before you started watching this video, and you already know that it should be 350 degrees, because I'm going to add that into the recipe that in the actual video I gave you an incorrect temperature at first. So just so you know, we are going to bake this bread when you're done with the dough and you've got it in the bread pans, 350 degrees for 45 minutes. And it's been that long now, so I'm going to turn around in my kitchen here. And I'm going to, oh, there's the timer, so it's been 45 minutes. I'm going to take the bread out of the oven and I'm going to check it with a toothpick. I'm going to stick this into the middle of the bread and pull it back out. And if it comes out clean, no batter on it, then it's done. I want you, this is my hot pad. Isn't that cute? I want you to make sure that you do this with a parent or with parent supervision, because I don't want you reaching into the oven and burning yourself. So, 2 things you're going to need: a toothpick and a hot pad, some kind of a hot pad. So I open my oven door and get this down here so you can see. I'm going to pull the bread out of the oven just a little bit, because I don't want to reach all the way into the oven. And then I'm going to take my toothpick and put it in the bread. Right in the middle is a good spot. It's down as far as you can, and look at that, it came out completely clean. There's some cinnamon dust on it. See, but there's no batter on it. Okay, and so I'm going to test the other one. Again, nothing. It's coming out completely clean. There's no batter on my toothpick, so it's done. So it's time to take those out. Make sure you use hot pads, and if your parents prefer, they should be the ones to take them out. You should not be cooking anything without your parents' permission. possibly parent supervision. That's really their choice. I always supervised the kids when they cooked till they got older. All right, so my bread's out, it's done, and this is what it looks like. 2 loaves of cinnamon bread. Doesn't that look yummy? It's very good. I've made, these are the 4th loaves I've made because my family loves it, my brothers and sisters love it, and they really are, believe it or not, older than me, and they can't get out much. So I make them treats every once in a while and take them to their houses. All right, so I hope you love the cinnamon bread, and next time we bake, I really don't know what we're going to make next time we bake. I'll think about it. Have a good day, be good to your families, and be good to your parents, helpful to your parents. And now that you're all done making this bread, clean up. Don't leave the mess for your parents to clean up. Bye-bye. Because we're almost done with the bread. It's been 45 minutes. It's actually been 44, so I have 1 minute left. But I need to correct something and tell you I told you 40, or I'm sorry, as far as the temperature for the oven goes, I told you 325 degrees, and it should be 350 degrees. So, hopefully you printed the recipe before you started watching this video, and you already know that it should be 350 degrees, because I'm going to add that into the recipe that in the actual video, I gave you an incorrect temperature at first. So, just so you know, we are going to bake this bread when you're done with the dough and you've got it in the bread pans, 350 degrees for 45 minutes. And it's been that long now, so I'm going to turn around in my kitchen here, and I'm going to, oh, there's the timer, so it's been 45 minutes. I'm going to take the bread out of the oven, and I'm going to check it with a toothpick. I'm going to stick this into the middle of the bread and pull it back out. And if it comes out clean, no batter on it, then it's done. I want you, this is my hot pad. Isn't that cute? I want you to make sure that you do this with a parent or with parent supervision, because I don't want you reaching into the oven and burning yourself. So, 2 things you're going to need: a toothpick and a hot pad, some kind of a hot pad. So I open my oven door and get this down here so you can see. I'm going to pull the bread out of the oven just a little bit, because I don't want to reach all the way into the oven. And then I'm going to take my toothpick and put it in the bread. Right in the middle is a good spot. It's down as far as you can, and look at that, it came out completely clean. There's some cinnamon dust on it. See, but there's no batter on it. Okay, and so I'm going to test the other one. Again, nothing. It's coming out completely clean. There's no batter on my toothpick, so it's done. So it's time to take those out. Make sure you use hot pads, and if your parents prefer, they should be the ones to take them out. You should not be cooking anything without your parents' permission. And possibly parent supervision. That's really their choice. I always supervised the kids when they cooked till they got older. All right, so my bread's out, it's done, and this is what it looks like. 2 loaves of cinnamon bread. Doesn't that look yummy? It's very good. I've made, these are the 4th loaves I've made because my family loves it, my brothers and sisters love it, and they really are, believe it or not, older than me, and they can't get out much. So I make them treats every once in a while and take them to their houses. All right, so I hope you love the cinnamon bread, and next time we bake, I really don't know what we're going to make next time we bake. I'll think about it. Have a good day, be good to your families, and be good to your parents, helpful to your